Meghan Markle is embroiled in yet another scandal over plagiarism. If you don't recall, back in 2020, her and Prince Harry signed a deal between their production company, Archwell Studios, and Netflix for over $100 million. All that has come of it so far is, first off, their docu-series, Harry and Meghan, where they cried about how they're victims of the media for 8 episodes. And then further after that, With Love, Meghan, which of course is her recently aired cooking show. But one project that got lost in the mix and eventually canned and erased from public memory was a children's animated series called Pearl. And this is from an archive on the Archwell Studios website. Pearl, that was the working title at the time, is described as an animated series that centers on the heroic adventures of a 12-year-old girl who is inspired by influential women from history. Let me guess. One of them is Susan B. Anthony. Yes. Maybe another one is Harriet Tubman. Maybe another one is Rosa Parks.
I bet you Hillary Clinton is in there,
Maybe
too.
even Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
So it continues. The Duchess of Sussex will serve as an executive producer alongside David Furnish, who is, I believe, Elton John's husband. And this is the official synopsis. Like many girls her age, our heroine Pearl is on a journey of self-discovery I'll do it in a Meghan Markle voice, as she tries to overcome life's daily challenges. I'm thrilled that Archwell Productions partnered with the powerhouse platform of Netflix, and these incredible producers will together bring you this new animated series, which celebrates extraordinary women throughout history. David Furnish and I have been eager to bring this special series to light, and I am delighted we are able to announce it today. That's from her press release back in 2021.
That was the voice she does.
That's, the voice you will hear if you go listen to episodes of her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, or the previous one that flopped, the Archetypes podcast. Yes. But yeah, it was short-lived because then by May of 2022, there was no evidence to be found that this project ever existed, and people thought maybe it was just dead in the water. The reason seems to be, according to new information, they received a cease and desist for alleged plagiarism from a children's author named Mel Elliott in the UK, who recently spoke to the Daily Mail about their communication behind the scenes. She sent a legal letter suggesting potential infringement of copyright in relation to her own creation, which is a book series about a British girl named Pearl Power. She followed up with 2 further personal letters. Here is her official statement. Meghan Markle is a feminist who sticks up for other women. So I was disappointed and confused to see how similar Netflix proposed show Pearl was to my own Pearl Power, who had been created 7 years earlier. Of course, I can't know if anyone on her team had seen it and been inspired by it, but the similarities were too great for me to ignore. The world of arts and media are very competitive, and I'm afraid it's common for powerful people to rip off the work of less-known creatives. Although I'm not saying that's what happened here, what saddened me most is that having brought the similarities between my Pearl and Meghan's Pearl to the attention of Netflix and Archwell Studios, my objection was never acknowledged. Neither Netflix nor Archwell responded to me when I would have loved to contributed and collaborated. Mel had already written 3 books in this children's series before the animated series was ever announced, and then it was quietly killed before it was ever close to production stages. And it seems logical that it's because they were worried about getting sued. Yeah. We have another 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. I've met 100 plus famous / semi-famous folks. Met many when I was on the film critic junket circuit, met others at network meet and greets and promotion meetings when I was a creative director for ABC, CBS, NBC affiliates, and Fox O&O. What is O&O?
I don't know.
Well, we weren't asking about that. We want you to name drop. We want a full list.
Brag,
of your
my friend.
We want the Pop Culture Junkie client list. Yeah. We want the flight logs. So it doesn't end there. I am not familiar with the children's book series, so I don't know if it was a similar concept for the character where she's spending time with all these historical figures.
So it's just the bad luck of having the same name?
It goes further than that, though, because they pointed out all the previous examples, and it's kind of hard to call to mind how many times Meghan Markle has been accused of copycatting until it's placed in quick succession listed out here. So first off, she was even accused of copying. Thank you.
She's going to have a crisis party in her next show.
She's having a copycat crisis. So this is the most recent example. Pamela Anderson accused Meghan Markle of copying her Cooking with Love show with the name for Meghan Markle's Netflix show, With Love Meghan, where it's just Cooking with Love, but without the cooking part. And then the executive producer of Pamela Anderson's series shrugged it off publicly, at least, saying, "We take pride in planting the first seeds. It's a compliment to see our work resonate so strongly."
That's such a humble brag and shade at the same time.
So essentially they meant she copied, but we're not going to sue because that's too much work. And then they also listed the plagiarism controversy around Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand logo, which was almost to a T the same as the coat of arms for this small Spanish village. Mm-hmm. We talked about that back when the lifestyle brand was launched, the emblem. And then I didn't even know about this one, but as you know, Meghan Markle recently launched a new rebranded podcast about entrepreneurship and feminism called Confessions of a Female Founder, which already existed. There was already a podcast under the same exact title launched by a female entrepreneur more than a year ago.
Yeah.
And I would understand if maybe this were launched 5-7 years ago under the same name and it was an inactive podcast that barely existed. But the fact that it was created more recently than that makes me think they were just out of ideas. And that continues to be the pattern with Meghan Markle. She has none of her own original ideas or thoughts, expects the teams at these companies like Netflix to come up with them for her, gets mad when they don't, and the last resort happens to be just copying and mining other people's creations. She has no original thoughts. And she also has, of course, an extremely inflated ego and sense of self-importance. And as I've pointed out, she seems to think of herself as the reincarnated Princess Diana, which is so Freudian that it's actually disgusting. This reminded me because there was a recent headline, Meghan Markle hires an over-the-top 4-car motorcade for her night out on Broadway in New York. And this was from hiring former Secret Service agents. They say the Duchess of Sussex was taken to the Broadway show Gypsy on Thursday night with 3 SUVs and an unmarked police car. So there was the unmarked police car, the car that Meghan was in, and then 2 decoys, just in case there was someone planning to assassinate her or something. I just feel like she's writing fan fiction in her head about being swarmed by paparazzi a la Princess Diana on that fateful night. But as one reply pointed out, she paid for 2 extra decoy cars to make it look like she's more important than she is. Taylor Swift constantly walks around New York and doesn't go to this extreme. Who does she think she is?
Wait, like how many cars is enough? Are we saying like 2 cars is enough? I think she's going to have a body double soon.
I mean, who knows? Maybe she already does. People have said that she's hired like a robot version of herself to make public appearances with Prince Harry.
Well, yeah, she doesn't want to have to deal with the commoners.
And other people have thought that she was completely faking her pregnancies, wearing a strap-on belly while hiring surrogates for both. There are a lot of wild theories. I don't know if I believe them all, but the point being,
this is not still being paid for by the British taxpayers, right? They're no longer
because she's
security.
not part of the royal family. They do have to pay out of pocket for security. Yes.
Well, she can afford it. She got like a gazillion-dollar deal from Netflix.
Right.
Where was she going? Did they say where she was going?
That was her going to a Broadway show.
Okay. So
she's a theater kid at heart.
Do they then like take out the whole row because she's got to have like 4 security guards on either side of them?
They have to like stop all the other people at the show from leaving until she does.
Yep.
You know, just in case someone is after her.
8 cars seems a bit excessive. How many is it for Secret Service? Does anybody know?
Taylor Swift, for reference, usually has 2 cars, the car that she is in and a security car with her team. And if she's going somewhere, she has a separate car on site with her team already there, but they don't travel together.
This could be very mimetic in the way that, like, you know the memes of like Taylor Swift when she walks from one side of the house to the other and they show the plane flying to the other side of the house?
So one anonymous source said Meghan is out of control and it's ridiculous if the city is paying for this, obviously because this is one of them is a police car. They say if NYPD was not on duty, then they shouldn't be allowed to run lights. Somebody's got to be paying for it. So this is like taxpayer funded ego tripping.
Yeah. I mean, was there like some type of security threat assessment that was done that said if she goes to see this play in particular that she could be in danger?
Like, I'm sorry, you're not nearly important enough to worry about.
I mean, maybe she thought that the lady who wrote the Mel Elliott lady had some special forces training and thought she was going to find her at the play.
Well, they say it's something that can be made available based on the threat assessment and circumstances of where they're going and what they're doing. Okay. Theoretically, if she's on some sort of foreign dignitary mission to meet with a political official with Prince Harry in tow and their children, maybe you could justify this. But you, on your own, going on a night out in the town to watch a Broadway show because you're a theater kid, I don't think this really makes sense.
I feel like I would just be upset that I was inconveniencing a bunch of people. I guess it's not really because they're getting paid, but it'd be just like, oh, this feels excessive.
Yeah, others have no such sense of shame is the problem.
I wonder what she'll go see next. I wonder if she goes to the movies and then they have to like all sit in the theater with her.
Nah, she uses her celebrity connections. She can get an early screening.
Oh, she gets screener copies.
Yeah.
That's annoying. See, she's hurting herself again. What she needs to do if she's going to enter her villain arc is go to a theater and loudly be on her phone and have...
No, just pull a Lauren Boebert with Prince Harry.
Oh, you're talking at the play.
Yeah.
We never did find out whether she went and saw the Beetlejuice movie after that whole Beetlejuice debacle at the theater.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about,
it was an assault on the senses.
Lauren Boebert got in trouble for getting frisky at like a movie.
Frisky.
At like a
frisky business.
Not at a theater, at a play.
She was up to some frisky business at a family establishment.
It was very
unacceptable.
It was very unacceptable and unbecoming of a government official.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.